After such disarming honesty, it became clear that our would-be scientist would not touch upon the issues of nature protection in his treatise. However, Mr. Manoilo had to answer one question from the audience.
Микола Антонович Лохматов, the PhD in agriculture.
Mr. Manoilo, I have a few questions, but they are short. Just 1 2-word answers would be enough. Could you tell us whether at present there are areas that are to be reserved and protected more than others in the Izum pine barrens and in the steppe bordering pine forests? Can you answer now? On the whole, I need to tell you that the Izum pine barren and its considerable part falls under the protection category of the extremely valuable woodland. It was done. We have achieved this and put efforts in forest preservation. What's more, just about a month or 2 ago, I had a talk with my scientific superior, Viktor Tkach, and we decided that this work will be conducted in autumn. We would spare, say, about 5 hectares of natural forests as it is. Only the scientists would be allowed on this territory. There would be no tree cuttings at all in there. We would observe how the forests renew themselves naturally, the way it was 100, 200, 300 years ago, when all these forests were natural and when they all appeared, like now in these climatic conditions. So are there areas that should be preserved, or aren't there? Well, let's say there are, but there are not enough of them.
It's easy to get lost after such remarks. During all the years of managing the 50,000 hectare forests, our would-be scientist has just planned, to make a nature reserve with the area of 5 hectares. The whole situation is an insult, a spit on the nature protection and on the works of all the real scientists who spent years researching and writing about the high value of the Izum pine barrens. Besides, Mr. Manoilo somehow forgot the decision of the Regional Council from the 20th of November 1997 about reserving 26,000 hectares for creating the National Landscape Reserve, the so-called Izum Luka. Valentin Manoilo also forgot the decision of the Regional Session from the 21st of May 2002, which foresaw the creation of the 900-hectare Regional Landscape Reserve Yeremovka, also situated within the Izum forestry enterprise. This reserve had to be established in 2003, but it still doesn't exist. What's more, these areas were supposed to be treated as future nature reserves, so the range of activities potentially damaging for the valuable natural complexes was limited. We have already seen how these limitations were observed, and we are going to see some more. Unfortunately, during Mr. Manoilo's managing, the territories planned for reservation were seriously harmed. The area of the natural pine woodlands reduced by 80% from the total area of pine forests. But even the remaining 20% are represented by the separate areas of forest, undoubtedly simply waiting for being cut down. The situation got even worse during the last year, because the final harvestings were introduced. In his thesis discussions, Valentin Manoilo tries to avoid the comments about the Izum unique fire prevention breaks and focuses on the methods of pine forest regeneration on the felled areas of the Izum forestry enterprise. The only thing to do for the government is to count how much it would cost.
And now to the second question. Where does nature tend to go without our intervention? Does it desperately try to heal what mankind carelessly spoiled? On the other hand, what destiny are we preparing for the steppe-bordering barons by the actions that we take and the methods that we use? Are the natural phytocenoses being regenerated, or is it just our high-productive dense stands? What is prevailing in this fight?
Well, that was a strange question. Even Mr. Manoilas seemed to be taken aback. Don't the people in the stuffy hall know what happened to the Izium forestry enterprise? What's even sadder, it could have been turned into a place of regional and national pride. The only thing the authorities had to do is change its status to the one of the National Wildlife Reserve, Izium Luka. But we will show you the answer to the question. All these spots are the areas where the trees were cut down after the fires. Furthermore, the territories with 8-year-old and slightly older pines can be added to the damage picture. These areas look like problem-free forests from space, but it's only because the branches have grown as far as to merge with the neighboring trees. As we get lower, we see what's been done to the woodland. When we get down to the ground, we don't feel like we're in the forest. It must be some sort of a desert where pine trees are unsuccessfully attempted to be grown. Dear Hirtian Prince, I keep remembering your presentation in the Guti forestry enterprise, when on Georgy Bondaruk's computer everyone saw the endless forests and one fell inside, where something was even left. And this is how the reserves are created in this country. Endless fellings and small islands of what has been planned for cutting down. These were the pre-planned and controlled burnings of the old pine trees areas.
Well, out of 106 fires that happened this year, we put out 108 on our own, using our own resources.
And it doesn't even matter which exact year Mr. Ovcharenko, Mr. Manoilas' successor, is talking about. Now we may be beginning to understand him.
Now we can already say that on the basis of the public notice, accepting the thesis report, the council members' secret ballot for 10 people, against 1, invalid 0, we consider that the thesis corresponds to the set standards of the dissertation for the academic degree of the candidate of science. This thesis is a completed scientific research, which was done under the supervision of the PhD in agriculture, Professor Viktor Tkach. It includes an innovative decision for solving an urgent problem, which is vital for studying the pine forests and the steppe-bordering barrens in the part of Ukraine to the left of the Dnieper. Based on all of the above, the scientific degree of PhD in agriculture is conferred on Mr. Valentin Manoila. You can now congratulate the thesis writer and you may applaud him.
A great round of applause for the many years of Mr. Manoilas' fruitful work, and the newborn scientist is among us. I have no doubt that the future would allow us to take a closer and more objective look at this man's actions. Then he might lose his scientific degree.